In this video, we're talking about how to find the best places for Airbnb rental arbitrage, so stay tuned. Vacation Rental Machine helps hosts just like you learn how to start, grow, and scale your short-term rental business. This show is all about creating systems that help you automate your business, giving you more time and money freedom. If you're ready to start living the vacation rental life, then subscribe to this podcast today. Come and join us on our Facebook group, The Host Nation, where we'll be talking about starting, automating, and scaling a short-term rental business. Now, on to the show. Hey, welcome back, Host Nation, to another episode of Vacation Rental Machine. I'm Julian Sage with John Bell, and today we're talking about the age-old question of what are the best locations for Airbnb rental arbitrage. And just a quick disclaimer, this is not going to be one of those top 10 videos where we're just going to say, here are the top places based off of some list online that says that these places are right, because more often than not, those locations are probably not going to be the best locations. They are probably going to be oversaturated. There's probably going to be a lot of people there, or they might be using some different types of metrics to quantify why these locations are the best. But what we're going to be doing is actually talking about some of what our criteria is for the best areas, so the best locations that we see as being the best, highest profit, safest locations based off of our criteria. So John, you have around 60 properties as of this video and continuing to scale of master lease units with some co-hosted units in there as well. So you have a pretty good idea by now of what are some of the best markets that you're looking for when investing into these rental arbitrage units. Are you using these top 10 lists, or what's your criteria specifically when you are going to be investing into a market?
Well, I'll just jump straight to the chase, right? No, I'm not looking at or Googling the top 10 places to do Airbnb or rental arbitrage or anything that way. Because if that's being publicated, everybody else is going to flock to those areas. And that might cause some changes in pricing, and maybe it takes it down a few notches. We've actually had a student who lives in a small town who has looked up their own market right there in their backyard, and it has deemed it a great market to actually do Airbnb because there's not many people there, because the places are fairly cheap, but there's a good draw of people that do come into town. So really, you need to just be armed with how to really look for good markets, not necessarily being told to go to markets. And how do you do that? You have to digest some data. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as a few clicks and you can just see a list that you can just say, yes, this is it. I'm going out to Philadelphia. I'm going out to Florida. You actually know how to digest certain things. And sometimes your own backyard might actually be better than what you think. So what are some things you need to do? You need to look up tools. You need possibly AirDNA. There are other tools that are out there now. Price Labs has a great tool that they are actually working on developing. It's a lot cheaper, and you can actually compare multiple markets. Now, of course, the more popular the market, the more data that's there. But don't get scared if there's really no data, if you can provide a good experience. Remember, Airbnb was set up for experiences. If you have a farm experience, that actually could be a big draw for people. So you want to know what the draw is for people to come to your place. Sometimes it might just mean business travelers if it's a big city. Other times it's just regular travelers. Here in New Orleans, there's not many people that are coming for business. They're normally coming because they're tourists. Of course, that has a big draw during those big events. But outside of those events, things might not happen that frequently. But New Orleans might make that list of top 10 places. But without that big draw during COVID-19, New Orleans was probably just as dry as the Arizona desert. And you might have actually shot yourself in the foot following a trend that somebody else just kind of put out there. So you want to know what the draw is. You want to know how to digest some data. And you want to know just how you can actually manage in that market itself, whether that means you have people on the ground, whether that means you are commuting back and forth towards it, because all of that stuff affects numbers. One of the most important things to actually really look into, and this might mean that you don't even go into a market, is to look up the local regulations for short-term rentals. I prefer that regulations have been passed of to some extent. That way I know the rules versus I take the gamble in playing a game in which things could change fairly rapidly. For instance, I know that a lot of people were in Nashville, and Nashville decided to pass some regulations which might have hindered business for most hosts. So, running to those areas that don't have anything might not be the best move, but they still could end up on those top 10 places to actually be. So, you definitely want to know how to read the regulations, how to search for them, because there's also speculation around regulation. But knowing exactly what's been passed and working within the rules. We want to know the game and play by the rules.
One other key thing that you should definitely consider is that with these top 10 lists, they're typically going to be showing maybe really popular destinations. But like we said in the beginning, one of our students actually is operating out of a very small rural market. And, we both kind of laughed because, I was actually came from that market. I'm very familiar with it. And it is not a place that you would typically think that would be profitable. We weren't even really considering that place at first because we were looking at, more of a popular area that was a couple hours away. But when we actually looked at the numbers at that market, we realized that there was a really big gap there and a lot of opportunity right in his backyard. So definitely don't neglect your backyard if that is a particular area. You definitely want to make sure that the regulations are okay. But if there's not a whole lot of operators there, that might also just be a really golden opportunity for you. And I also want you to consider too that this is also a very new space, the urban short-term rental, because we've come from this long, time of vacation rentals. So in vacation destinations, Cancun, Florida, California, these have been really heavily tourist destinations for vacation rentals. But now we're actually seeing a lot of short-term rentals coming into more urban areas or suburban areas or rural areas where people are trying to get away from maybe a lot of those more popular destinations, and they're looking to stay in more cities or smaller towns away from where maybe everybody else is. So these are all things that you should be considering, and we have a lot of resources on this channel, so be sure to subscribe. We also have another video where we actually walk through AirDNA and how you can actually use AirDNA to analyze a market. We're also going to be coming out with a video pretty shortly using Price Labs and how you can actually use Price Labs for coming up with the numbers in your market as well. So if you are interested in investing into the short-term rental space, then definitely subscribe to this channel and check out all of the resources that we have down below. If you don't know, we do have a website, a blog where we share a lot of other resources. We have podcasts, definitely a lot of other ways that you can connect and grow your short-term rental business. So until next time, Host Nation, keep on hosting.
Hey, Host Nation, would you like to work directly with Julian and I to help you start and scale your own short-term rental business? Go to shorttermsage.com/coaching to attend our step-by-step training and learn how we can work together. Looking forward to talking to you soon.
Hope you hosts found value in this episode. If you did, please go on over to iTunes and leave us a review, as that would greatly support the show. If you'd like to connect with John, the community, and I, then go on over to our Facebook group, The Host Nation. Talk to you hosts in the next episode. Keep on hosting.